It is my pleasure to introduce a member of CVRW since the early 90s. She continues to support CVRW through many activities that we are involved with. But it's my pleasure to introduce Clarissa Darby.
It is great to be here today and out of Austin and around normal people. Drew sends his regards. He is there still in Austin working till midnight most nights and also on Saturday and Sunday. So Monday is Sine Die and we hope it's one and done. We're really looking forward to that. I'm trying to absorb all of the normalness here in this room because I've got to leave in a little bit early and head back to the blue state of Austin. There's a reason they call it Bat City, and it's not because of the bats. But I'm meeting a daughter that will be driving through, and she's going to be there for about an hour, so I'm going to try to intercept and visit with her. Beginning of this session, I found myself at a casual dinner. I'm sitting across the table from a beautiful young woman and her brother. And then we started playing the Do You Know Who game. And come to find out, they were both from Bernard. Her brother actually went to school with one of our daughters at UT. And they mentioned how much they love San Angelo, because when you are from Bernard, San Angelo is the big city. Gotta have my notes, I say it exactly right. This beautiful lady was Lauren Clay, and she's an assistant to the First Lady. And she mentioned during this dinner that the First Lady also really enjoys visiting San Angelo because we're warm and welcoming, and she just loves our community. She mentioned that she would like to come back. So right then, we're like, aha, the wheels started turning. And so with the planning of Lauren Clay, assistant to the First Lady, Chelsea Holden, another assistant to the First Lady, Heather Ward, Leanne Forbes, and Beth Urich, that casual dinner brought us to where we are today discussing children's advocacy, which is number one, an emergency item of the governor, number two, an item that the CVRW has been following on the newsletter, and number three, one of our club projects. HB 249, SB 11, and HB 7, and I'll put these in the update next month, have all passed the House. And they're headed towards a conference committee and hopefully onto the governor's desk for signature in the few days to come. April is Child Abuse Month, is Child Abuse Prevention Month, but every month should be Child Abuse Prevention Month. The First Lady and our friend Cecilia Abbott has a lot of requests on her time. Of all the places that she could be today, she chose to be with us. She toured our local CAC this morning because she, along with Drew and myself, is a strong advocate of helping our vulnerable children in crisis. And she is here to see and listen to how and what we are doing in San Angelo. Last year, and I'm going to read this so I get this correctly, last year she launched her Texanthropy initiative to promote volunteerism and service to others as her primary focus as First Lady of Texas. She has also partnered with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services on a new initiative, Network to Nurture. And this is to raise awareness about the ways Texans can support the children and families in the state's child welfare system, such as mentor older foster children, donate children's toys, clothing, and baby supplies, and help fulfill requests from families and CPS workers for items and services. She does all of this and much more while being a very busy wife of 35 years to our Governor Abbott, mother to Audrey, who is now in college. I think the last time you were here, she was graduating from high school, but she is now a college student. And she's also the mother to two very active, four-legged and photogenic perpetual children, Oreo and Pancake. So please help me give a warm San Angelo welcome to our friend, our advocate for children, and our First Lady of Texas, Cecilia Abbott.
Well, thank you, Clarissa. Let me get myself situated. Sorry about that. Well, I want to tell you, it is so good to be here, so good to be here in San Angelo for the Concho Valley Republican Women Luncheon. Well, Greg and I really do appreciate the many hours that you volunteer and all of the support you provide here in the community. You know the saying, when you want something done, ask a busy woman. Well, ladies, you have been busy. Last March, on Super Tuesday, we saw the most votes ever cast in a Texas Republican primary. More than 2.8 million Republicans voted, and that is double. That is double the turnout in the 2012 primary and double the Democrats. Well, I know women were the majority of that vote. And I know it was women who got folks to the polls and who volunteered as block walkers, phone bankers, and election workers. But most importantly, you helped us win back the White House. Well, now it is my pleasure to introduce to you another busy woman, Heather Ward. She's the Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center of Tom Green County. The center's mission is to ensure that every child has a safe and nurturing home. It is an umbrella organization housing the Hope House, CASA, Family Enrichment Services, Concho Valley Family Alliance, the Child Fatality Review Team, and the Strengthening Child Welfare Continuum Group. Well, I just had the opportunity to visit and tour the center. I met dozens of community leaders and volunteers who worked in close collaboration with the center to carry out its mission and I learned about the many wonderful ways that the center is helping children and families here in the Concho Valley. Well, Heather began her work at the center in 2001, and she truly has a heart for children and believes in the collective impact that communities, individuals, and the government can have when everyone works together in a coordinated effort to ensure that every child has a safe and a nurturing home. The Children's Advocacy Center is truly a gem. This community is so fortunate to have it, and also fortunate to have Heather at its helm. I know we are all looking forward to her presentation today. So without further ado, please help me give a warm welcome to Heather.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Mrs. Abbott, the Republican Women's Group, and Clarissa Darby for having me speak at this monumental occasion for our community. Whenever we look at the care of children and families, we know that it takes all of us working together. It's not the government alone, it's not the community alone, it's all of us working together. Mrs. Abbott, I would also like to thank you and Governor Greg Abbott for the work you both have done throughout your lives as adoptive parents, for your work at the Network of Nurture, and as a former educator. Thank you. On behalf of our community, our CAC staff, and board, the children and families across the Concho Valley and across Texas, please express to your husband our thankfulness for making child welfare a priority item this legislative session. We thank you. His tenacity to overhaul one of the most complicated systems in Texas will continue to impact our children, our families, and our community in ways that I cannot imagine. And Representative Darby, we're unsure if Representative Darby and Senator Perry would also be here today. We know they are working at the Capitol tirelessly, but I also want to tell them thank you. Their offices came to our center and sat down with our team and really helped us to help. They wanted to understand what our community needed, what the children and families need. And we were able to meet with them and our team and convey that message to them. Representative Darby himself actually came unannounced one time and just sat down at the table with us and listened to our community's concerns. And I'm forever grateful for that because he really made some things change. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who said, "The government closest to the people serves the people best." And today I can wholeheartedly say, you have served people best. I would also like to thank Health and Human Services Commission and Department of Family and Protective Services Prevention and Early Intervention Division, Sasha Roscoe and Donna Wood, who are also with us today, CAC Texas, Christina Green and Sally Allen, and Texas CASA for your leadership in reforming systems and calling upon our community to help. I'll give you some background on child welfare reforms and CA's part in that. What we've done, we have this over here. I'm going to walk, so walk with me here. All the programs that we offer, they're family enrichment services, which are prevention services for all children and families. They're the Hope House program, which serves children who have been abused or neglected or have an outcry, make an outcry of abuse or neglect. We work with the DA's office, the investigators, detectives, and we make sure that children are wrapped in services through the prosecution phase, investigation, prosecution, and treatment phases. We also have the CASA program that ensures children have a voice whenever they can't remain in their home and they have to be removed. They have a voice throughout the court process, ensuring that they end up in a safe and permanent home. We have our Concho Valley Family Alliance that works together with all of these partners and with people in our community, with churches and businesses. And we host picnics to make sure the services are talked about and families are engaged. And we look at gaps in our community and see where we all can work together to fill those gaps, to make sure children and families are safe and strong. That's our Concho Valley Family Alliance coalition. We also have the Child Fatality Review Team that whenever a child dies in 13 counties around us, we review those deaths. And we have all the people on the front lines there, medical staff, people from the fire department. We have the first responders there to review this, the school. Everybody looks at these cases and we see, where did the system fail? Where did we as a community fail? And we change processes and procedures locally so that we can make sure that it doesn't happen again. If we can prevent it, how can we keep those children alive? We also bring awareness campaigns. We have awareness campaigns out of that whenever we find trends, to make sure that parents, one of ours was don't text and drive, or making sure that there's safe sleeping going on so children are not suffocated when they're laying next to their parents in bed. Things that people just don't always know, things that need awareness. We also have the Strengthening Child Welfare Continuum Group. And this group works with the judges and agency heads, families, parent leaders, and reviews the policies and practices locally and at the state level. So that whenever things are changing at the state level and policies change, whenever it filters down to our community, we can figure out how to make that work. And vice versa. We send that information to Representative Darby and Senator Perry's offices. We make sure they know what the community's talking about so that they can pass good legislation that fits the needs of communities. So we do all of that there at the center to make sure that all children and families have a safe and nurturing home. It's a lot, but it takes all of it. And it takes all of us. Today I want to talk to you about child welfare reforms and why a better system matters more than you may realize. Where we are as a community on developing the system and how we can work together to implement the system and transform the way our community serves children and families. Why is it important? I think we all saw on the paper some of the child welfare reforms and how a system was strained and overwhelmed and failed. It failed children. And it was not because we had great caseworkers, we had great CPS workers, but at some point, if communities do not get involved with the care of children and families, the system will break. And I believe that's what we saw happen, and why Governor Abbott has made it a priority this session. The second thing is, if we look at the research from over 20 years, a body of research that tells us that the childhood experiences impact children for the rest of their lives. Good or bad, they impact us. This body of research is known as ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. This is really important because whenever we start looking at this research, Centers for Disease Control has been adamant that we change the way we serve children and families, that we really see this as a public health issue. Let's see here. Let's see, this body of research shows that the long-term effects have to do with your health, they have to do with your emotional well-being, your overall potential as an individual. These adverse childhood experiences include child abuse, neglect, domestic violence, mentally ill caregivers, the loss of a caregiver, unstable homes, and a multitude of other factors that impact children. We also know, now this is a longitudinal study, there's longitudinal studies that have gone on for years and replicated in many different states. But we also know the brain scans from Harvard University and from Dr. Perry here in Texas confirm that actually the child's brain does not develop as it should. And so whenever your prefrontal cortex and your limbic system do not develop, what happens is that controls how a child can learn, their ability to learn, their ability to feel empathy, their ability to regulate emotion, cope with stress, and it actually induces a physiological response and a chronic fight, flight, or freeze response that can impact health, causing cancer, autoimmune disorders, and the study shows that even an early death of about 20 years decrease life expectancy. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone that experiences these things that will happen to. It means that there's a correlation there, and the more adverse experiences you have as a child, the more likely you're going to have that kind of impact. We also know, the good news is, we also know that numerous studies tell us that whenever a child has a safe, stable home to grow up in, that they thrive. That they have academic success, they have optimal brain development, they regulate their emotions, they have enhanced physical and mental health and overall well-being, and they build resiliency. So even whenever things go wrong, they're able to become resilient. That's the same thing with children, with families, and with communities. What we've learned over the last couple of years as we've looked at child welfare reforms and really looked at the public health model and how we have to change the way we care for children and families. What we've learned is family systems and communities are different than they were 20 years ago. They just are. And our systems have to respond to that and adapt. If we are only relying on CPS and foster care systems, or if we think the care of children is just the government's problem, we're missing the boat, and our future will be bleak. All families and children must receive the support and specialized services they need when trauma does hit. We do know that, and we know that all need support. This means all families, birth parents, grandparents raising kids, foster parents, needing adequate professional services that can help them whenever children are removed, whenever they have to be removed because they aren't safe, can help them raise healthy children. Let's see. We know that families struggle in accessing services. We know that our system, not just the CPS system, we know that all of our systems that serve children are fragmented and disjointed. And there are some things that Sasha Roscoe and Donna Wood over there have been working on with the governor's office and CAC Texas to make sure that children have one place they enter, or databases that are connected at the state level so that we can case manage children together. Because it takes medical services, it takes home visitors, it takes teachers involved, or early learning, child care facilities. It takes all of us working together. And what we know too is parents want help. The majority of parents want help. The majority of parents are trying to just make it by and do the best they can. And as a community, if we can welcome parents and help strengthen them while we're still protecting our children, then we're going to see a change in our Concho Valley. We're going to see a change in Texas that will long outlast anything that we do today. Let's see. One of the things that the CAC has done over the last couple of years, well, since 2014, whenever we started working with DFPS, Prevention, Early Intervention, Health and Human Services Commission, and CAC Texas, was we worked on a strategic plan that helped the state really look at how we prioritize the children's needs, that we invest in programs like Hope House and CASA that really they're there during intervention. When a child's already made outcry of abuse or neglect, they're there to wrap those children in specialized services. We also started advocating that there's a shift in investments by the community and by the state to really talk about this children and families and talk about prioritizing children and families all over our communities, all over our state, for all of us. So we can all get back to strengthening the homes we hold so dear. At the CAC, we implemented new programs in Hope House, Family Enrichment Services, and CASA programs with new databases so we can have data-informed information and really work with the community and know where we're headed with children and measure our effectiveness and share that with the community. We've been doing that through our Concho Valley Family Alliance and Child Welfare Continuum. We've worked on our infrastructure and increased our IT and security needs so that we can handle the new programs. And where we're headed today is we know that the answer lies in our community. It doesn't lie in systems alone. It doesn't lie in just the Children's Advocacy Center and our programs. It lies in all of us. All of us really prioritizing the care of children and families and coming to the table, volunteering, having speakers come in like today, talking about it, and really engaging and looking at new ways of how we can all come together and support families when they need it, strengthen families when they need it, and protect children whenever they need it. What we started, and we'll move to the next slide, we've outgrown this building here. We're in 2 locations, we're about to be in 3. One of the things that we know is whenever you have a team that works with you, they all need to be in one location or as closely as they can, collaborating. A recent study out of the University of Texas with CAC Texas has shown that whenever your team for Hope House, our detectives, our investigators, the people that are specializing in the trauma part of child abuse and neglect, when they're all together at the same location, they're more efficient, there's less burnout, the children and families have better outcomes. We're able to serve children and families better. I would say you can see that throughout our continuum. We have, working with our board and talking to several architects and experts, we have found that because we have an umbrella that is open to the community in our Family Enrichment Services, open to volunteers in CASA, but also has the Hope House program, the CAC program, that is it's so important for children to have confidential, private visits there and feel like they're in a home and safe whenever they come in to talk about their abuse. We found that we're going to need acreage with private parking places, with places that also lend itself to community engagement. And we've worked with Kenny Frankie, Brooks Laner, to develop this. You can come up and look at it. We're very proud of it. But to develop this one location where children and families can come to on the river, where it'll enable our whole team to really take the hands of children and families and walk them through the pathway of all the services they need. Now, obviously, all the services they need are not going to all be in this building, but what our Family Enrichment Services program does is when they assess the families, they link them out to all the different providers throughout our community that are needed. So it may be that a family comes in and the mom is struggling. She is looking to get her GED, or it may be that there's a medical situation that needs to occur and a pediatrician needs to be involved. Well, we link them with those services. So the important part here is we just take the hands of the children and families. We make sure that they don't get lost in any of the systems. So that's where we're headed. We're very excited about it. Our board's been working tirelessly on it. And we hope that you can come along with us on this journey, that you can volunteer wherever you need to, wherever you feel that your heart takes you. We also would ask that you volunteer in any nonprofits that you find that help children and families that really fit your talents. We know that each of us has a talent and each of us has a role in serving children and families, and whatever way you do it, just do it. That's really all we need. We are here to talk with you, to walk you through, and to figure out that space, that place, and really just work with our community to build capacity locally so we're all working together for the same vision. I think that is, I want to close with this. I'm almost done talking. There's Margaret Mead who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." I would like to think of you as the citizens that will change the world, and I invite you to do so. Thank you.